Alright guys, working my way through a box of challenge locks. This is one by Matthew Pierre. He sent me 3 of them. This one does not have a key, but it looks like the core turns a little bit. It is a Schley, you can tell by this tailpiece, and of course by the keyway. A little bit of restriction there. I'm going to pick from that left edge. Hopefully we can get this thing open and see what Matthew's put inside of here. Let's go ahead and clamp it up, I guess. See what we got. I'm going to put a piece of leather around it so we don't pinch that tailpiece. And maybe zoom in a little bit. Try anyway. Come on, camera. Cooperate with me. Alright, nice wide. So usually the wide one fits, and it does. This is going to be okay. I'm going to try. See if I can grab. I'm going to use a standard hook. Move that just a little bit. Alright, I'm going to go all the way to the rear, heavy tension, to try to find something that's going to bind for me. And I got, oh, it feels like pin 1. Or maybe that's the tension wrench. Nope, that was pin 1. Got a very slight click. Now move to the rear. Pin 2 is all the way on the bottom, and he's set. So I'm going to give him a little nudge, maybe. Okay, I got a little click off of him. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not done. Okay, I got a click off, another click off of him. Tighten it up just a little bit. Looking for feedback. Maybe Matthew put us a spool in here, I hope. Odd when you hope for spools. They usually talk to you. They tell you they're a spool and they tell you when they've been picked. Very clear communication. Serrated inside a threaded chamber, not so much. Okay, pin 1 is giving me a little bit of feedback. And I heard some other stuff drop back there. Pin 2. Okay, I got another click off of him. He had come back down the bottom. Pin 4, all the way on the bottom. Got a little click off of him. Feedback on 3. Got a click off of him. I'm thinking serrated, maybe with some wide gaps, but I always hesitate to say that because about 90% of the time I'm wrong. I'm on pin 3, and there we go. Pin 3 was just sticking down a little bit. Might be a T-pin. I'm sticking my neck out here, but we have no key for this, so I can't lose the pick, otherwise we'll be picking that thing again. Let's see what Matthew's got inside of this thing. Get my leather off there, get a pinning tray, and everything's situated. I have a tool here that Jeff Moss gave me. I'm going to hold the front of that so I don't accidentally spin the entire core. And you can do this without this special tool just by pushing that little pin down and unscrewing it and then releasing that pin and then you're in. I like to dump the spring out, that way I can always find it. I know exactly where she is. Alright, the pins are on top. I need this one will work. And let's see what we got here. Try not to screw this up too bad. Alright, looks like a 6-pin lock, but only 5 of them are in there. Okay, homemade serrated, homemade serrated, homemade serrated, homemade serrated, and another homemade serrated, and nothing, no threads on the core. Everything looks good there. See if you guys can take a look. Standard core. Alright, let's go to the magic. Looks like a commercial spool, little bitty one. And another commercial spool. A homemade serrated, it looks like. Another homemade serrated. That is an odd looking spool right there. I don't know if he's homemade or not. And there should be nothing else. Matthew, man, you wasted a chamber. Why didn't you put something in there? I would have put something nasty in there. I don't see any threads in there, guys. I just see the springs. I don't see any way, because let me turn this upside down. The springs are going to fall out. But it didn't look like Matthew had removed. They got the original factory crimp, and the only way you can thread the upper is to have removed that. So everything in there looks normal. All right, let's take a look. Another quick look at these pins. Oh, Matthew did an awesome job on these bottom ones. Would have been, I'm giving advice here, if you're going to use these, go ahead and throw in some serrations by threading at least a couple of chambers on your core. The top, you have two commercial spools. You have a homemade serrated, and the oddest looking, I have never seen a spool with that narrow of a gap right between there. Awesome looking thing. I'm going to have to send that out in a trick lock myself. Anyway, Matthew, thank you, sir, for the lock. Everybody else, stay safe, stay legal. All right, Matthew, you and I are going to conspire just a little bit, try to make things a little harder on the next guy. So here's what our pinning is going to look like. We're going to pin up all 6 of these chambers. So what I've done is I've taken your serrated pins and I've gone ahead and just put them right there in 1 and 2. I put a commercial serrated pin in 3. And then I've replaced one of the spools with a longer spool so you get a deeper vault set. And then I've got this homemade job. And I'll be honest, I can't remember where that came from, but I've been saving it. So that is a T-pin on the end and then a deep spool. So that'll really mess you up. And if that isn't hard enough, the 6th hole I populated with a very short pin, so it's going to be up high. They got to reach it. And then they're going to have to deal with that nasty little T-pin. So I think that'll make things a little bit harder, especially since I went ahead and installed just a little bit of threading. I think 4 of those chambers are threaded. I really can't see through the camera, but I think it's 1, 2, 3, and 5. Yeah, that's it. 1, 2, 3, and 5. So that ought to elicit just a little bit of love from the next guy that gets this lock. Anyway, Matthew, thanks again. And together, I think we put some nastiness in this thing. Thanks, guys.